Okay, so if it's one thing that I absolutely do believe in when it comes to writing, is that reading and writing go hand in hand. Because reading, there's a writer, there's words. Writing, there's a writer, there's words. And everybody is reading what you're writing, even if you're not sharing it, because sometimes just one person is everybody, and that one person is sometimes just you. That's how I started. That's how a lot of people start. But the thing about writing, there is a quote by Stephen King. Let me see if I can remember. I can't. I don't know if I can remember it word for word, but the quote is. He pretty much says, you can't write without reading, because if you don't read, you don't have the tools to write. Reading, I find, is to be something that you do not just out of enjoyment, but as a writer, you can read to kind of get the creative juices flowing. Sometimes when you have writer's block, I read a book and it helps. I see something that an author is doing and I'm like, oh, well, now I want to write. But it's not just because of creator's block. Reading is something that you should do as a writer, because you see how somebody else does it, and it teaches you how to do it yourself. So if you don't read, you can't write. That's part of the reason why a lot of times in school you don't just learn how to write while you're learning how to read. You learn what the ABCs look like before you write them down. You learn how to read before you learn how to write. So that's pretty much it. You can't not read a book and write. I mean, you can. It's perfectly possible to not read a book and then also be able to write something successful. But the point is, reading is one of those things where you can't go wrong. You read and then you write and you're like, okay, I see it. Because, one example I'd like to use is the book The Handmaid's Tale. When I first started reading it, I was a little confused because not all of the dialogue was quotation until I started reading into it a little more. And so I figured, oh, well, Atwood seems to she has to have a reason why she wouldn't add quotations, because the book is published, a lot of people enjoy it, she's a professional, so of course she knows what she's doing. There must be exceptions for why you don't use correct dialogue quotations. And there is. In that book, a lot of in that book, the main character is telling a story. And a lot of things that go into telling a story is when you are vocally telling a story, you don't use quotation marks. So in the story, she's like telling a story, but she's not writing any of it down. She's just there by herself telling a story. And then there are parts of the book where she's not telling a story. She's actually doing something. She's actually having conversation with someone. And then there is quotation marks. So it's like you have the thoughts, and then you have thoughts, and then you have the quotations. Yeah. That's pretty much it. And that's one thing I learned while reading a book that I could do in my writing. Because sometimes when I'm writing, I don't know what to do with the character's thoughts. I think it's like, okay, so this character isn't actually in a conversation with someone. They are just telling it as some sort of narration, as the main character in Handmaid's Tale was doing. So how am I going to do this? My immediate thing that I do is go into italics. Well, as I started getting older and more advanced in my writing, I started to think that doesn't really fit. How can I, that just doesn't fit. What else am I going to do? And then, 18 years old, almost 19, reading The Handmaid's Tale, oh, hey. So that's how you do it. And then I want to practice it in my own writing. Just that style of no quotations, just sharing thoughts. It's pretty much what she does. So, without further ado, if you watch the end of this video, leave a comment, just a random word. Just random word. I don't know, maybe share something you liked about the video, just so that I know that you watched the video. You can ask questions, I don't care, just whatever. So, yeah. Bye!